Welcome back to Once Upon a Pod, where Disney books and Broadway collide.
We're your hosts, Megan and Grace, and this week we're diving into all things Lilo and Stitch.
Oh yeah, we are jumping into the live action remake, which we both went and saw that movie.
Yeah, we did.
And then we're comparing it to the original animated version that came out when we was just wee little children. So that's what we're diving into today. Let's just jump on in. What were your initial thoughts?
I thought it was very cute. I
Very
went into
cute.
it was very cute. I had seen a lot of backlash online, so when I first went into it, I was like, okay. Now, mind you, okay, I'm not a huge Lilo and Stitch fan.
Yeah.
Growing up, that wasn't one that I went to. I'm always and forever will be princess and fairies and that type of thing.
I'm with you.
And so the idea of watching an entire movie about aliens and experiments just did not sound fun to me as a kid.
Yeah.
But the older I've got, the more that I've appreciated it, especially the story behind it all, whatevs. So going into it, I had a pretty open mind, but I also was like, I've heard a lot of not great things about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went in, I loved it. I really liked it. I kind of almost liked it more than the original.
I agree with you, actually. me and my mom went to see it, and we both came out of the theater and were like, that was so good. That was so good. I think I like that better than the original.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was super pleasantly surprised because I heard some mixed stuff too. Most of what I heard was good.
Yeah.
But I did hear about a couple of spoilers before going into it, which is, isn't a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
But, most of it was like people weren't overly thrilled about those things, which we'll go into here in a minute.
Yeah.
But so,
absolutely.
And also the last live action that Disney did was Snow White. And that just got
there was so much backlash.
Yeah. So many people hate. I never saw it. I probably never will.
I agree.
Maybe if I'm
have
like
never seen it, and
just
I probably won't
really bored one day and it's on Disney Plus, but probably not. I was never a Snow White fan to begin with. I
agreed.
Can't even tell you the last time I watched that movie, the animated one. So it was always kind of spooky as a kid. But
yeah, true.
But yeah, you just like heard so much crap about it. So they just came off of that. So then you're kind of like you don't have super high expectations for the next live action. So, but
I really liked it, and I liked the ending. I liked it a lot. A lot of people that I would talk to were like, I don't like the ending. The ending sucks. And I'm like, no, it's cute. Like, it's so cute.
The
I
change.
cried.
Yeah.
Yeah, I cried. I had tears in my eyes. I was emotional.
I really, I liked it too. I thought it added so much to the story. Made it more real and personable and stuff.
Yeah.
But because the ending is cute in the animation too, but it just doesn't go as deep as the live action, which I guess makes sense because it's animated. It's gonna be, and it's shorter. It's for little kids. That have the attention span of a Stitch.
A pea. Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
So, but yeah. So let's get into the characters and the casting. So
absolutely.
What were your initial thoughts there with some of these peeps here? Like, what about Lilo?
Yeah. I mean, I thought she did a great job. I mean, it's so hard because animation wise, the girl that or whoever voices Lilo, obviously she doesn't have to physically be acting. And so I found myself being super hypercritical of her for some reason. But then I had to remind myself, and I'm like, she's literally a child, and this is the first thing she's ever been in.
She's cute.
And I feel like she did a really good job. I mean, especially because she had to literally stare at nothing for most of the time that she was filming.
I actually wonder how they did that.
There had to have been a tennis ball or something that she was staring at. You know what I mean?
They do that, yeah.
They gotta
maybe they had a stuffed animal. I don't know.
I don't know, but I feel like she did a really good job. I mean, I definitely She definitely gave the spunk that the Lilo in the original has, and she still has all that sassiness and all that fun stuff that Lilo brings, you know? But overall, I think she did a great job. I think she's going to go places. I think she did a really great job.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just felt bad because I left and I was like, why are you expecting so much more out of this?
Yeah,
However
like
old,
how old is
9-year-old
she?
girl?
Like, yeah.
Like, she's got to be 9 or 10.
I'm curious. I'm gonna look her name up
Well,
really
and
quick. Which
I
how do
don't
you
even.
even say
She
her
had
name? I don't even know. Maya Kiloha,
Kiloha. Yeah, that sounds correct.
something like that.
But I think she did great. I mean, her little Stitch. No, it was just so sassy.
Yeah,
She did
super
great.
cute. Super cute. Where I don't see her age on here. She's so new to acting. Her age ain't even on here. Her picture is
I was gonna
so
say
cute.
she's probably like 9 or 10 right now, but my guess is she had to have been even younger than that when they were filming it. You know what I mean? She was probably
Born
7.
December 14th, 2016. 8.
So yeah, she's 9.
8 or 9.
Well, yeah, because December she would be 10.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
2016, you said?
No, so December of 2026, she would be 10 because she was born in
Oh,
2016.
yeah, you're right. So she's 9 right now.
No, she's 8. She's
She'll
8.
be 9. Math.
Man, it sucks.
Math is the worst.
All right, anyway, she's adorable.
She did very good. I liked her a lot. What did you think?
Yeah. I really liked her. Actually, one of the first things my mom said to me, she like leaned over to me in the theater and she's like, she's not chubby enough. And I was like, Mom, like Lilo,
That's
the one you're
funny.
comparing her to, is a cartoon character.
Cartoon, right?
Like think about Moana. When Moana was a baby, she was all like just fat
Cute and chunky.
chunky. It's like that's
Yeah.
what they do with little kids and
To make them look little, yeah.
and make them adorable and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so she was like actually disappointed about that. But then, and it was like right when the movie started. And then it gets more into the movie, and I'm like, look at her cheeks. She's got just cute
Look at her.
cheeks.
I know.
I was like, she's adorable, Mom. You cannot.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And then she did agree with me, but like first thought was, oh, she's not like like squishy, like Lilo. But it's like again, that was an animated character, so
Exactly.
But she was absolutely adorable. She did, like you were saying, she did such an incredible job. And and you brought up the fact that she's acting with a character that's not even there. It's not even real.
Yeah, literally.
And for an 8-year-old, probably 7 at the time, whatever, when she was filming. And her first acting job, I don't know what her history or whatever, but being 7, she's probably not done a lot.
No, there's no way.
And having to jump into a CGI movie, and that's huge. Not everybody can do that because but it's probably helpful for her being a 7-year-old because she has a big imagination, I imagine. So I'm sure she actually had a lot of fun with that. Just
for sure. Well, and I think it's super cool too because like you can tell that they cast the perfect Lilo for Lilo just in the interviews that she gives. Like her interviews are so Lilo. It's just so funny.
I haven't watched a whole lot of them. I've seen some videos of her hula dancing. Like that's she actually does that, which is so cute. But no,
Agreed.
yeah, I loved everything that she did. One part that I just realized that they didn't put in the live action was the part when Lilo bites the girl at hula practice. You remember that in the cartoon? Like she's, Lilo's running late. She runs in.
She bites
she's
her?
all
I
wet.
guess I didn't realize she bit her.
She like jumps on her, starts fighting her, and because remember the scene where they're outside and they've got their dolls, and Lilo's like, oh, I got my little creepy doll, and then the girl's like, oh, she bit me, and all the girls are like, ew.
Yes, I do remember that. Yes, I do.
Which I was kind of like, oh, they didn't put that in there, but that's okay.
No, they did not.
But
hey,
I felt like that
okay.
was a very Lilo move in the animation.
Yeah.
So I was a little sad to not see it. But this live action Lilo is very good. You know, the spunky, the sass and stuff. But she definitely is not as much as the
Oh, yeah, not
original.
as spicy. Yeah,
Yeah.
not as spicy as
Yeah.
yes, for sure.
But I was overall incredibly impressed by her. So,
Yeah. I agree.
but yeah, so moving on to one of our CGI characters and the cutest one of them all, Stitch.
Yes.
What were your any thoughts on him? I know he's, CGI, but what did you
Yeah.
think? What did,
I I thought he was cute. I don't know. The whole time I was like, "Oh, he actually looks like real. I kind of want a real Stitch."
I want
And
a
guess
real
that's the
Stitch
point.
so bad.
Like,
Yeah.
it really. I leaned in, so I went. I saw it with my husband, and I leaned over to my husband, and I looked at him. I was like, "It honestly just blows my mind. Like, this is still animation.
Yeah.
Like, it's still fake, just like the original, but it looks real. Like the fact that it's only been 20 something, almost 30 years that this movie has been around, the original. So it's like, it blows my mind how crazy
How far we've
animation
come, yeah.
and exactly. And it blows my mind. I was like, it's fake. This is still a fake Stitch, but here I am, like, obsessed with this, and I want one.
I know. Why can't Stitch be real? Like,
Right?
honestly, he's so
I know.
cute. And I loved the animated Stitch. I thought he was so cute.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he is just the perfect little sidekick.
Oh, for sure.
Though he kind of
cute.
gives off main character energy, so.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But yeah, I thought the CGI looked really, really good in this movie.
Yeah. It was very good. Very good.
He looked great. And he was actually voiced by the same person. So his voice was exactly the same.
Wow.
But I did feel like his character was a little bit more tame than the animated version. Like, I'm thinking about the part when he gets back to Lilo and Nani's house and he's just like destroying everything. I feel like he's a bit more wild about it in the original than he is in this one. And there's other parts too.
Yeah, he didn't cause as much of a scene at like all of her interviews that she goes to.
Yes. Like,
there wasn't
specifically they
intense.
didn't do the whole dress him up as Elvis on the beach scene.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But they had it at the end.
Oh, yeah, just a little bit there. But, like, that's one of the scenes where he, like, goes crazy. Because he gets overwhelmed because people are surrounding him, taking his picture, and then he freaks out and, like, destroys everything. So he doesn't do that in the remake. So he is a little bit more tame. But I actually kind of liked it better, I feel like. Yeah. You know, he's just more lovable, I feel guess.
Oh, for sure. And I think, and we also have to think too, because it's like, they're also having to put this animation in with live people. And you know how much harder it probably would be to create all of these scenes without anything being there. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just feel like that would be so hard. It's doable, and I know that
I'm sure it would have
many movies that do it, but it's still like I feel like there's just so much that would go into it.
I'm sure the budget would have been much higher if they had to do like a whole scene where he destroyed everything. So maybe that is literally the only reason why they didn't. I mean, who knows? But
yeah,
I just kind of felt that way through the whole movie, but I didn't feel like it was like lacking anything because of that. So
agreed.
So I was very happy with little Stitchy Poo. He's so cute. I just love him. I really want a Stitch. I've said this forever before the live action even was thought about. I want a Frenchie and I want to name him Stitch.
I love that.
Because they look the most like Stitch. Yeah.
They do.
There was a Frenchie in the movie. Did you notice that?
I did. Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh.
I did. He was surfing.
Yeah. And then he's like, Stitch is like, I can do that. Let's go. You know, like, it's so cute. All right. So, what about Nani and David? Anything there, chemistry wise? Any dynamics that you thought were lacking or whatever? Let me know.
So, Nani was one of the characters that I went into with like a negative output, just because so many people were unpleased with Nani being the woman who plays Nani
really?
being Nani.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a lot of backlash. They were like, she's not Hawaiian enough. I think she did phenomenal. I think she was a great Nani.
Yeah.
I will say I think, struggled more with the not having something real to look at times. With the Stitch, because I remember it's at a part towards the end, I think, where they're all like hugging. Scratches
that's
his
what
head
I was
in the
gonna
wrong
do the
spot.
same thing. Yes, that's what I think. That's what I was gonna say.
That was that was the only thing. But other than that, I think she was great. The girl who played Nani did phenomenal. David, I feel like he's way more prevalent in the original.
Yes,
his character is way more involved in the original.
Yes.
And there's way more chemistry in the original between the two of them than there was in this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, but David's character was funny. Like, he was always the one that everybody's like, David, just stop. Like, you're being dumb right now.
Yeah, calm down.
But I really liked it. I think they both did a great job. I mean, I think this is one of, whoever plays Nani, I can't remember her name, but I think this is one of her first, like, featured films or something too, right? Like, I feel like she hasn't really been in much of anything.
I took her off.
So I feel like for
Sydney, I don't even want to know. Can't even. Her last name. I was gonna say,
I feel like she has not been in a top.
She's born in 2000.
Holy cow!
That's just wild to me. But yeah.
I mean, I say holy cow as if it's not a year after I was born, but it's still just like crazy.
It just seems like
there's these
wild. Yeah.
Like, it just seems wild. She's literally my age and is starring in films. It's just wild to me. You know, like, it's just crazy. But I really liked them. I think they both did great. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I definitely think David's character was way more involved in the original.
Yeah, I completely agree. But that's crazy though that the people didn't like her as Nani.
It was a whole thing. You hadn't seen that? When they first casted and said that she was casted, which obviously was a handful of years ago, people were like not happy about it. They were very upset because they just didn't think she was Hawaiian enough. And I'm like, how does that make sense? Like, we were a little upset that it wasn't some dark-haired, pale as can be girl playing Snow White. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it was I don't know. A lot of people just were not happy about it. But I feel like their views have changed since they've actually seen the movie, you know? I don't know. Anyway, what did you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking it up right now. She was born in Hawaii.
Yeah, I know.
Caucasian, Filipino, and Polynesian descent. So everybody calm down.
I know. She literally is, but I don't know. I don't know why people were throwing a fit about it.
I really, really liked her. I really enjoyed her and Lilo's relationship more in this version.
Agreed.
Nani kind of got on my nerves in the animated version. I felt like she was just like so mad at Lilo all the time. Yeah. And they just didn't have that sweet relationship. Like they show it a lot. Yeah. And there is that line where it's like, I like you more as a sister than a mom.
Yeah.
Which you really feel that in the animated one, because it's like, yeah, Nani's supposed to be your sister, but she's like yelling at her all the time. And they should be bonding and stuff, but it is really sweet how they do that in this version.
I agree.
But so she's a lot more. I can tolerate her in this movie. I enjoyed her in this movie. I just have to deal with her in the other one.
Yes.
But yeah, I really liked how their sisterly relationship was really more prevalent in this, and more loving and caring and gentle. So I really, really liked that, and I also feel like they talked a little bit more about their parents dying in this, and how that has impacted them. Like they had that whole bedroom block, mom and dad's bedroom in their house that they have the door shut, nobody goes in. So I enjoyed that made it just seem more real, because like in the animated, you're like, what happened to him, what's the deal? Like, I don't even know if they talk about it really at all. But anyway, so I really really liked her, and their chemistry was Lilo and her chemistry was really good. But yeah, I felt the same way about David. His character was lacking in this movie, and it was a little disappointing. Because I did really really like David from the original. And yeah, you can tell right when we meet him that he probably does have a crush on Nani, but that's like it, you know? Like then he's just kind of just shows up every now and again. He doesn't really it's not really shown what a connection he has with them and how close he is with them, I feel like.
He's really portrayed as just like the next door neighbor in the newer movie.
Yeah, not like a best friend. You know, like he was super close with them in the original. And yeah, their chemistry, Nani and David's, I felt like, you know, again, was lacking. You don't see them like or feel anything from them until the very, very, very end when I think she like kisses him goodbye or something like that. It's like, oh, all right. But anyway, so I could have seen some more from that for sure.
Agreed.
So, what about some of these other characters, supporting characters, specifically Cobra Bubbles, Jumba, Pleakley, any of those other people. The neighbor, she's a new character in this.
I loved the Tutu character. I also just love that actress in general. Like she's in 50 First Dates. Like she's in every good Hawaiian movie.
She is.
Like period. She is. And so I loved.
She was in the original Lilo and Stitch too.
I know, and I loved how much she just cared deeply for those girls, and I felt like that. Like the moment she came into the picture, I was like, oh, I think I know where this is going to end up going. You know, meaning she's going to end up with Tutu, you know?
Oh, really?
So
you thought of that?
I kind of had yeah, I kind of was like, I kind of hope, you know, because I had heard that there was going to be a little bit of changes. And so I was like, I bet she's going to end up with somebody in the movie. So I kind of had a feeling it was Tutu when she got into it. But like, I loved her character. She was just all in, ready to go. Correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, it's been a little bit since I watched the original. But isn't Cobra Bubbles also the social worker?
Correct.
In the original?
Yes.
Okay, see, that's what I thought. So when I was watching that I was watching the new one with my husband, and he looked at me, he goes, when the social worker came out, which I thought that was a good little twist. Like I liked that there were two separate people, you know? I don't know, a little bit. But anyway, that was the first thing my husband noticed. He goes, the social worker is supposed to be Cobra. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. He's like, where is Cobra? So he was like really sad and disappointed that Cobra was like not as
he was
in your face.
Yeah, he was barely in it, to be honest.
Yeah, like only a little bit in it, which is okay. I mean, I'm sure they wanted to include as many people from the original movie as possible. So
yeah, I'm thinking that they literally did that just so that they could cast her, because she is the original voice of Nani.
Probably. Which would make sense.
Which is cute, and I like that they did that, but also it does take away from the Cobra Bubbles character.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which a lot of people really enjoy his character.
Yes, but I also think that it gave a little bit more of a dynamic between the social worker and Nani relationship, you know? Like,
yeah, it did.
It made it more human, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it did.
Nani, you can't keep doing this. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, in the original, it's just like Cobra's like, we gotta destroy. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta get this under wraps, you know?
Yeah.
Which is okay.
She was very caring and understanding and was trying to help Nani and all this stuff.
She just wanted what was best for the girls, which... Any good social worker wants that. I have worked in the realm of social work. I understand it. And good social workers want what's best for their kids. And I think that she did a good job portraying that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, Pleakley. Okay, so Billy, the only other thing that I have ever seen of him is Into the Woods.
Oh, yeah.
As the prince with... Rapunzel, And so I was like, I kept looking at him
Why
on
do
the
I
screen, and I'm
recognize
like,
him?
I was like, who are you, and why do I know you? And immediately my mind started going, agony far more painful than yours. And I was like,
Oh my
what?
gosh.
No way. So I think it was great. I think he did a phenomenal job. It was Pleakley.
Yeah.
And again, okay, I must have been on the side of TikTok for this movie where like everybody was just complaining and people were like rioting because they were worried since they were turning him into humans instead of him just cross-dressing the whole time. They're like, this is not going to be good. But they literally had him wearing the most outrageous outfits ever. I thought it was
funny.
so
Hilarious.
funny. But people were freaking out because they're like, he has to dress up as a woman. That's the whole thing. And in my mind,
But he
I'm
still was, because
know,
he's an alien and he has no idea about,
has no idea.
the genders and the different clothing and stuff like
Well,
that.
And I think people were freaking out because they're like, oh my gosh, they're going to turn these people into human, or these aliens into humans, and then they're not going to do anything about it. And so I think people were pleasantly surprised when they saw the outrageous outfit.
I was cracking up because I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the fact that they were like putting on these human disguises.
Yeah.
But I actually loved it because Billy Magnuson, I think is his name. I really like him. I feel like he's always in kind of like just silly roles. Like I knew I had remembered he was in Into the Woods, but then on the first thing I remembered him from is he plays one of the goofy princes in the live action of Aladdin that's trying to marry Jasmine.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
He's a
he
goofball.
is always in Goofy.
He's a goofball. He's
always
in
in Goofy.
And I was like, has he ever been in anything serious?
Yeah,
but I just really like him. There's something about his vibe that is just hilarious. He's also very nice to look at, in my opinion, which is just really funny because he's playing Pleakley, who is just the
most absurd
freaking
looking alien ever.
Yeah. But I was cracking up. And then when they first transformed into their human bodies, and they're like, he doesn't know how to walk. He's like, and he's like tripping all over the place and not understanding human dynamics and things like that. Oh my gosh, it was just really funny. And I loved that he was wearing ridiculous outfits because that is something that you really love in the original, is that Bleakley dresses up as a woman. He just like takes that on. So, he's just like wearing whatever. And like most of it is like women's clothes or just like goofy outfits. And it's, and then Jumba, he's just wearing like normal clothes. So,
which, speaking of Jumba, I feel like, okay, so like in the original movie, I always felt like Cobra was more of like the bad guy,
Cobra?
I don't know why. Cobra. I always thought Cobra was more of the bad guy because he's trying to get all these things figured out. He's trying to get rid of the aliens, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I felt like in this movie they made Jumba kind of the bad guy.
They did.
Like,
they transferred the bad guy.
They changed
to
that.
Jumba.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm okay with it. I kind of liked that Jumba was more of like, he was like just so obsessed with trying to making Stitch be this crazy, horrible thing.
It made a lot of sense.
It made so much more sense to have
really
man have the alien that created 626 be the one that's literally going crazy because he's like not doing what he originally intended for him to do, And I kind of liked that. I don't know. I feel like that added a little bit more. Because in the whole original movie, the whole time I'm like, Cobra sucks. Like, Cobra Bubbles is the worst. He needs to go away.
That's so funny that you associate Bubbles as like the bad guy, because do you remember the character Gantu? The huge giant alien from the cartoon.
And he also was trying to like actually destroy, right?
He was trying to capture Stitch.
Yes. Which in my mind, those two were the two. Like one, I thought of Cobra as like the bad guy because
Makes sense. He's trying to break up the family.
You know,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But then I also the one alien too is the one that's the bad guy, and so and mind you, people were really disappointed that what was that alien's name?
Gantu.
I don't. Gantu. People were upset that he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly okay with it because I
didn't feel like it was lacking.
that Jumbo was more of the bad guy.
I actually did too. Yeah, I didn't feel like it was lacking with missing Gantu.
Yeah.
I was just like a little bit disappointed with Jumba, and it's not because they made him the bad guy. It was more of his portrayal, and which is surprising because it's Zach
Galifianakis.
Yeah, that guy. And he's hilarious, you know.
Which I love Zach Galifianakis. He's so funny.
Like we all crack up over him. But I don't know. I just felt like he wasn't right for this role because he's a comedian and he just wasn't, that wasn't really used in this Jumba role. So I didn't love like his portrayal of him. And also, I know this is just like a minuscule little detail, but I missed Jumba's accent from the original. I just felt like that added a little bit more of like comedy to his character too. So if Zach would have used like a funny accent or something, that could have been it. That could have been the comedy in that character that I was looking for. Even though he's still the bad guy, he still could have had a little bit of comedy about him.
Absolutely.
But
well, and I feel like the most comedic parts with Jumba always had Pleakley in it. You know what I mean? And Pleakley is what made it funny.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And like the whole scene where they're in the bathroom and they get a call and Pleakley's just in the bathroom.
He's in the tub with a
and Jumba's just like staring at
I know.
He's just staring at him like, what is happening right now?
I know. It's really funny.
It was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jumbo was just kind of like, whatever. So I was totally okay with him being the bad guy in this because I didn't love him.
For sure.
But yeah, I can't say it enough how much I loved Pleakley. I thought he was so funny. Added that perfect, comedic energy to the whole movie. Billy's portrayal of him was fantastic.
I love Billy.
It was so funny.
He was so funny.
And then I loved that, just like in the original, it's Pleakley and Jumba. They stay connected with Nani and Lilo, and they like live with them and like all that stuff.
Yeah, but in this one, it's just Pleakley.
It's just Pleakley.
He's like, I'll stay on Earth.
Yeah. I thought that was so cute, so funny. So
yeah,
I really liked him.
I agree.
So what was who was your favorite character? Who was your least favorite character? That kind of jazz.
I mean, obviously, I loved Lilo. I loved Nani.
Yeah.
And I loved Tutu. Her character, she was just, I don't know. There's just something so comforting about somebody. I don't know. I also just love her as an actress too. She's just so funny.
She's cute.
Yes, I loved those three. Were probably my favorite. I don't know though. Bleakley was a good one too. It was just so random and funny.
Yeah.
But least favorite, I would probably maybe Jumba. Just because he was the bad guy. You know what I mean? Like, which it makes so much sense as to why they didn't have the other alien come in. Because, of course, they turned, the Gantu or whatever, turned Jumba into the bad guy. And so, like, if Gantu were still in it, I would have been like, oh, Gantu was my least favorite. But I think Jumba, just because I always say, like, I've watched so many movies. Like, okay, the woman who plays Dolores Umbridge or whatever her name is in Harry Potter, she's the woman that wears the pink.
Yes.
Professor Umbridge or whatever.
She's the worst.
I hate her. I hate her. But she is probably the best actress that could have ever played her. And so I feel like for me, I'm like, oh, I like Jumba. Because I also feel like Zach Galifianakis did a pretty good job. And it was also weird because seeing him play such a serious, not so funny role was a bit weird for me. But yeah, I would probably say the Jumba character and maybe Cobra too, because there just wasn't much of him in comparison to the original.
Yep.
But also too, I'm not against it. I liked all of it. I don't know. I was really into most of it.
Yeah. Fair. That's super fair. Yeah, mine's very similar to that. Definitely loved Lilo. Lilo and Pleakley were my favorite characters and favorite casting choice.
Oh, for sure.
And least favorite, Cobra, Bubbles, and Jumba. 100%.
Yeah.
Cobra was just so lacking to me, and he was just like, his character was like, why are you even in this, to be honest? Like, what are you doing?
What is the point? Yeah, right.
And you know, in the animation, he's like big and bulky, and just presents himself as a, you know, a bad A, and the actor that they
He goes on
chose,
soft on us.
the actor that they chose for live action just like didn't portray that at all.
Yeah. Fair.
And
Fair.
so I didn't, you know, I just didn't love that. And then there's even a part at the end of the movie in the animation where when the, what's her name, councilwoman, the alien lady, when she comes down to like take Stitch and all that stuff, she's like, looks at Cobra and she's like, why are you familiar to me? How do I know you or whatever? Because they had met before in another like alien situation. And he's like, oh, were you at this and blah 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 blah, and she's like, yes, okay. And that's why we know each other. That just added like a fun different dynamic to Cobra Bubbles. And that wasn't even in this, like they did, so it just was like, what are, I don't know, I just didn't feel
What
like
was the point? Yeah.
super needed as the way that they, you know, did his character in this. So
yeah, agreed.
so we've talked already a lot about like what has changed and stayed the same a little bit. Is there anything else specifically that pops out to you that like changed that you didn't see or wish you would have or anything like that?
Well, so I mean, the plot stayed the same, right?
Yeah,
We've
pretty
talked
much.
about that.
Yeah.
It was pretty much the same. We talked about how Jumbo was the bad guy instead of the Gantu or whatever his name was.
Yeah, those were like, that was the big
Those
one.
were the biggest ones. Well, but the biggest one was Nani goes to college.
Yeah.
And Lilo goes and lives with Tutu and David.
Yeah.
So, and with Stitch, Pleakley, and Cobra lives all together there, you know? So that's the biggest difference.
Yes.
Nani goes to college in this, all the way in San Diego, I think she goes to California to school. I loved the ending. I loved it. It was best for Lilo to be in a stable environment, which was Tutu and David.
Yeah.
And it was so important for Nani to go to college. Like, she needed
Yeah,
that.
because
You know
she was,
what I mean?
you know, how old is she supposed to be? 18, 19,
Like
20,
18,
something
19,
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's important for her just, you know, because she has a little sister she has to take care of. Her parents are gone. Like, she should still be able to get the education that she wants, pursue the career that she wants. So I thought that was fantastic that they added that whole plot into this.
I agree. And the ending where they have the portal and she
Oh my
comes
gosh,
in
yeah,
and
that's
spends the night.
so
It's like,
cute.
oh,
That was precious.
So cute. Like, I loved it. I think I liked the ending of this way more than the ending of the original.
Yeah.
It just felt so sweet and wholesome, and I felt like
Yes.
it was exactly what Lilo needed, and it was exactly what Nani needed, and it was just wonderful.
Yeah, they both got, yeah, exactly. They both got what they needed. They both got like a happy ending. And then, you know, once Nani finishes college, gets her degree, gets a job and stuff, her and Lilo will be back together again in a much better, stable environment, where, you know, Nani is able to comfortably provide for them and all that stuff. So yeah, I thought that was perfect how they did that. I really, really, really liked that.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, and I definitely think that helped the storyline a lot.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Well, it went from Nani being just this mean, rude older sister because she can't handle life to this, I want to do what's best for you. I love you, Lilo. Like, I want to be there for you forever, but I need to also figure out my life to better support, you know.
Exactly.
And it shows and again, I'm going to go on a little tangent because I've been in the social work realm, but like when a child becomes a parent to another child, it taints the relationship and it hurts it so badly. And so I love how they really, really, really did a good job of making sure that Nani and Lilo stay sisters.
Yes.
above everything else, right? But also too with the struggles of like, well, crap, now I have to be the parent. I have to step up because Lilo needs me, you know? So you see this like whole inner battle with Nani and just like, I don't want to lose Lilo. But also too, I know I can't handle being her mom. I can't handle parenting my child, my child.
She's a child
sister,
herself.
you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But I
absolutely.
definitely think that it helped the storyline so much. And
It did.
I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed in it.
I completely agree. Yeah, I think their relationship is just so sweet and wholesome, like you were saying. And I love the ending part, you know, where she used the portal gun and comes and sees Lilo. And so, and her, Lilo, and Stitch are all asleep in the
Just
bed.
cuddled up.
And it's just so sweet. And I'm just like, like, it just like reminds me of me and my older sister.
Yeah.
Like, literally, we used to share rooms. So, like, I was terrified of thunderstorms. So, you know, when I would jump into her bed whenever there was a thunderstorm, and it's like, it just reminded me of that sweet older sister vibe. And that's exactly, she's able to be an older sister to her and not a mom right now. And so, yeah, it was beautiful. I loved that they did that. Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what do you feel about the whole Ohana? Was the heart of Ohana still in this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
even
okay,
more so, I think.
I agree. I had so many people come up to me and be like, I've heard that Ohana's not really a big part of it. And and I like looked at them and I was like, what?
It's a whole movie.
It's literally the entire movie is just about family. And like,
Yes.
and I think that's the importance of the Tutu character, because Tutu makes sure that it's talked about over and over and over and over and over again.
Like, don't
you know?
forget about
Which
Ohana.
is super. Exactly. And so I left the theater being like, oh, they're all about this Ohana. And sometimes, and I think it's important too, because Ohana doesn't mean the same for everybody, right? Like, family can mean anything, you know? And I think that's the beauty of it. And so I think they did a wonderful job of like emphasizing how unique Ohana can mean for any family.
Yeah.
In any situation, in anything.
Right.
Whether that means there's a freaking alien living in the house with you now and a bunch of aliens living with you, or if you're just a normal cookie cutter home, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, I agree. Stitch just learns so much about Ohana, you know, because, and that's the original too. He doesn't have one. He never had one. And you know, there's the whole part of Lilo asking him about his parents. And he's like, parents? What? I don't have any.
I was just created from nothing.
Right. So then he all of a sudden is like looking for that, yearning for it. Yeah, and it's so sweet. So, you know, at the end of the movie, he says, this is my Ohana. Ohana means family. Family means no one gets left behind or forgotten.
I was literally sobbing.
So cute. And then he's like, this is my family. It may be small and broken, but still good. Yeah, still good.
Yeah, still good.
And I'm like,
so cute. Crying, sobbing, tears streaming down my face.
Stitch, you've learned so much.
So much. And like literally a day and a half.
Whatever. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the timeline is, but
However
whatever.
long.
Yeah.
It's so cute.
But yeah, it's precious. I loved everything about it. They did such a good job. So overall, feel like of the pacing and the tone of the movie, did you feel like it was like lacking in any places or?
No, I feel like they did a really great job. I feel like the places where they cut from the original, they did a really good job of like adding a storyline where it, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there wasn't really anything lacking, and I feel like they did a really good job of like just connecting it all in the way that they wanted to for this film. Like they had a very clear area or way that they wanted to go about this.
Yeah.
And so I think they did a great job.
I
think anybody that's a hater of this movie should go away.
I think they need to go watch it again.
Yeah, right? Try again.
Go in with an open mind, okay?
Yeah.
And stop being so butthurt because it's not exactly the same as the cartoon. That's just not, it's just not going to be, okay?
It's true. But I will say, I am in the boat okay, of if you're going to do a remake or a live action remake, it needs to be as close to the original as possible. Like, I'm going to go see How to Train Your Dragon on Friday. And if that John is not the same,
honestly, it looks
like
it's going to be like really, really close.
If it is not identical to the original, I will cry.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and we also just have
will make me very upset.
Yeah.
I
get
like
it. I get it.
Movie
Okay.
Of Stitch.
Yeah.
Well, then you know what I mean. Like, I totally get that. But this movie with Lilo and Stitch, it's like I feel like they made it a little bit better.
They made it better.
But I also understand. But the thing is, it's like I'm not a huge diehard Lilo and Stitch fan. You know.
Yeah.
Am I
so
a huge
it makes
diehard fan of Tangled? And if they came in and botched Tangled, I would be ticked.
Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep.
So I understand where people are coming from if they're a little mad and butthurt that things were changed and not the same. I totally get that. But also too, like, coming from somebody who's not obsessed with Lilo and Stitch, I'm all for it. Go ahead. But I swear on my life, if you make a remake of Tangled and you botch that, I will be suing Disney. I won't really, but I would lose big time. But you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
It just depends on your
No,
preference.
you're right. You're absolutely right. Yes. We were not, obsessed with Lilo and Stitch. That wasn't one of our core movies. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. If it was, we would probably have some different reactions about things.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're
exactly.
Right. You're right. Yeah.
Which is fair.
Totally fair.
Everybody has their opinion.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, but
I will say, sorry, if the How to Train Your Dragon movie is not anything similar, I am revolting.
I mean, I saw the trailer and it looks
my
like
mind.
It looks like it's going to be exactly the same. I'm excited to see that. That looks really good.
I'll let you know.
I love that movie. Yeah.
It's so good.
And again, music, we're talking about the CGI in this movie.
I know.
The CGI for that movie.
It's so good. It's epic.
I mean, the dragons look exactly the same, but like real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just wild. It's cool. It's cool.
I'm very excited about it. Anywho,
yeah,
sorry.
You have to let me know.
I'll let you know.
Okay, we already talked a lot about like the CGI and Stitch.
Yeah, I really liked how they made the aliens. I think they were all the good mix of like looking realistic and real,
but not
aliens,
too
but
realistic.
Also cute.
Yes, they were a good mix.
Not that I believe in aliens or anything, but like those are what I pictured aliens
but there are
to look
some
like. You know what I mean?
creepy aliens out there that have been made, portrayed, created, whatever.
I feel
so
like they did a really good job at that.
I agree. They weren't, we didn't. Of course, we don't want it to be too scary. This is kids movie, but. So yeah, they did a good job of making them still look like aliens, but not too spooky, and all of that. I actually really liked the like gadgets and the technology that they used in this movie. Like we were talking about, like that portal gun. I thought that was really clever and creative. I love the part where literally Jumba is just like falling through the portals continuously.
Exactly. Yes. Well, they made it hop to today. You know what I mean? Like they hopped the technology to today. You know what I mean? Like they made it all very relevant, and they made it very. They made the entire movie fall as if it were in the 2020s, right? So like. The technology was different. So, of course, they're going to have cool portal guns. You know what I mean? Like, that's not... I don't know. I feel like they did a really good job of just making it seem...
Yeah.
Relevant to today. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been hard to go in and watching a movie where the technology is, like, from the 2000s. You know?
Right. And also, I think that's where, like, the human form gadget thingy that they did, that comes into play. Because
agreed
that you cannot be an alien, go around just dressing up, or an alien with one big eyeball and dress up with a wig and a dress and say you're a human. It's not gonna fly.
Let's talk about that, because in the original, the fact that nobody looked at them and was like,
it's goofy.
What
Why
are
do
you?
Look like that?
Like, that is so unrealistic.
Why do you have one giant eyeball? Why do you have 6 eyeballs? like or 4, whatever it is. And
be like,
so
you don't look human.
thought the like human gadget thing that they did was very smart. I think it was very clever.
I agree. I agree.
And I'm really glad that they used that, because that
I 100% agree.
Because that just would have been like, that's so obviously this movie is not realistic. But like that just would make it all the more ridiculous.
Made it more. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So another like what we were talking about before with Stitch and the CGI, and I meant to like comment on that, was I completely agreed with that like last scene. One of the last scenes when they're like hugging Stitch. And
after
that
the
is,
whole water
I
scene.
think, the only part in the movie where I'm like, oh, that looks a little not great, because yes,
Agreed.
they're hugging Stitch. It looks a little off. Nani's like trying to pet him or something, and it just looks a little. It just doesn't look real. But I'm pretty sure that is the only part I felt that way about. Everything else was very smooth. Even, when the Jumpa and Pleakley are going from alien to human, like that whole switch and stuff, I felt like that was pretty seamless and everything. Which, also I just thought of this. In the original, the big, huge white guy that's always sunburnt with the sunglasses and the ice cream, and his ice cream always falls.
Yeah, they still had him.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't white.
No, he wasn't, but he was big and he had his ice cream.
Yeah.
But I loved that part where Pleakley and Jumba, they do the little portal gun, and it shows them.
Shows him.
He's right outside eating, and he's just like watching them, and then Jumba like hits Pleakley's gadget, and he turns back, and then he turns back into his. A little excited there. Back into his alien form, and he's like, like, oh my gosh,
freaks out.
It was so
that
cute.
was funny.
That was funny. That was a good little scene there, and how they incorporated that character, because that is a funny character from just a little thing from the original.
Yes.
So that was cute that they included him. So
yes.
So what did you think about like the Hawaiian setting, the sets, anything like that?
I mean, I've never been to Hawaii, but I felt like I was there.
I'm pretty sure that they probably filmed there. So
they had to. Would be so stupid if they didn't.
I'm sure not all of it was filmed there, but majority of it.
Absolutely.
So it was very authentic.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
yes.
and
I thought it was very authentic.
Felt like the portrayal of Nani and Lilo's house was very good. Because, like in the, the original, it's just kind of like worn down and stuff's falling apart. So they did show that very well. They just kind of looks like they're in like a little bit of a poorer area, maybe, or just like run down a little bit. So all of that felt the same to me, and just gave off the same tone and everything. And obviously everything else, the little. I don't know where or what part of the Hawaii they're supposed to be in, but it felt very it felt the same,
the part of the movie where they get into the pink car,
and they drive around the whole island, and he's like how do I get out of here? I forgot about that.
And Lilo is like, isn't it just so wonderful?
Yeah, there's no big cities that you can destroy. No big
cities, and Stitch is like,
there's no big. That's what I'm made for. I'm supposed to destroy the cities. I forgot about that part.
So angry.
Yeah,
it was so pretty.
Yeah,
it's so
remember
funny.
he makes up the whole thing in her bedroom. Of like the books and stuff, and like he needs to destroy.
Yes,
I forgot about that whole part. Yeah, because like he was created to destroy. And specifically big cities for some reason.
Yeah, he was.
And she's like, yeah, there's no big cities here. Isn't it nice?
Isn't that nice? And he just is like,
he's like,
oh my
no?
gosh, kill me now.
Are you, what? Yeah.
But that whole scene of them just on the edge of the island, just looking out, I'm like, what a dream.
Yeah.
One day I'll get to go.
I know, same. Like, it's on my bucket list too.
I loved it. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, any standout, like, musical moments or anything like that? Like, I'm pretty, like, I cannot remember. Was Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride in this movie?
It was.
It was? Okay.
It was.
So, it was used in the same scene? When they're it happens when they're surfing, right?
Yes, at the beach. Yes.
I couldn't remember.
So the only reason I know that it is in the movie, and I do remember it, but I think it was. Do you remember the Hawaiian guy from American Idol a few years ago?
Yeah, he did it, right?
He sang it. He did it for this. Yes. So I remember seeing a video of him recording it for it. And listen, okay, I have some things. One, he's phenomenal. He did wonderful with that. I think it was a wonderful thing. But my favorite version of Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride is by Jump 5. Have you ever heard that version?
I'm sure I have because I loved Jump 5. That's really funny.
So that's always my favorite version. And I loved what they did with this version. They just made it feel, it wasn't as like fast paced, you know, like I really, he did a wonderful job with it and I really liked it.
Yeah, honestly.
But I just am all for the Hawaiian roller coaster ride from Jump 5.
That's hilarious.
My wiki wiki, my hello. Like I just,
That's
I don't know.
funny.
I love the whole thing.
Not heard
I
that
liked it a
version
lot.
in a very long time. That's hilarious. Yeah.
Yes, I think the music was great.
No, yeah. The music was phenomenal. I definitely thought it was the same singer, but I knew that it wasn't. But I was like, it sounds exactly the same. But also, like at the start of the movie when they're playing like the song that like I don't know if it's the beginning of Hawaiian Roller Coaster. I don't know. But it's that familiar Lilo and Stitch music, and I tried to sing along to it, but the words were different. And I was like,
Oh.
So I was like a
little
bit bummed about that because I wanted to sing. Even at the end of the movie, they played it again. And it's different words. I was like, I was trying to sing along with this.
Oh, yes.
And I couldn't. And I was like, what was the point of that? Like, we all just want to sing along with the original.
What does it go into? Because it starts. You're right. They did change the words and stuff, but I don't know. I wouldn't have known the words anyway. But yes, that opening scene after Stitch is like 626. He is going. He's leaving.
Yes.
You know, whatever. And they go that like I got goosebumps. I was like, okay, here we go.
That's funny. Yeah. So I don't think it was necessary for them to change words because I think everybody probably was like, wait, hold on, I'm trying to sing along with this and I can't.
I agree.
But
I agree.
The music was still sounded fantastic. It sounded like the same. It's like same vibes and everything. So yeah, I thought they did. Yeah. That guy did a really good job. Really good job. So
I agree.
Yeah.
I just love Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride. It's
a
so
good one.
fun.
It's a good one. Yeah. All right. So any final thoughts? Ratings, favorite moments? Would you watch it again?
Yeah. Okay. Favorite moments. Anything with Pleakley in it. Loved that.
Absolutely.
He was so funny.
Absolutely.
Would I watch it again in theaters? No. But when it comes out on Disney Plus, you bet your sweet Bippy I'll be watching that again. It was just so cute. But it's definitely not one that I would spend money to go watch over and over again. Just because I'm not a big Stitch fan. You know, I'm just not that into Lilo and Stitch. But I will be watching it when it is on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But overall, I really liked it. My rating is like a 4.5. I really liked it. I feel like my thoughts would be different if I were like a diehard Lilo and Stitch fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but because I'm not, I'm not against it. You know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Any scene with Pleakley, honestly, was like my favorite. And also just the cute Stitch scenes because I just think he is adorable. And I love the part when he like gets scared of the frog or yeah, like he's just so funny. I just love him. So definitely I'm gonna watch it again. I know it. But yeah, like you said, I'm not gonna go to the theater again and see it. I'll wait till I can watch it for free on Disney Plus. Which when the live action version of
Snow White?
No, Beauty and the Beast. There it is. I saw that in theaters like 3 times.
Oh, because that was a phenomenal remake.
So
one of the best. That and Cinderella are like the best remakes that they have ever done.
But also, like you were saying, me and you, we're more of the princesses, you know, so that makes sense. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just like, you know, I'm looking forward to watching it again on Disney Plus.
Absolutely.
And watching it with my niece and stuff like that. Yes. So I gave it like a 4. It's so good. Highly recommend it to anybody. And if there's any die-hard original fans, I would tell them you do need to go see it. But just keep an open mind because there are changes. But I think that they're very good changes. And overall, they did a phenomenal job on this movie.
I agree. Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah, definitely. So, yeah. So that was our review of live action Lilo and Stitch.
Heck yeah.
Round of applause for Disney. Fantastic job.
Yeah.
Thank you for not screwing it up.
Yeah, especially after the oof that was Snow White. My God.
I know. So good comeback, guys.
Sorry. I the last 2 live action remakes, The Little Mermaid and Snow White, I just feel like did not hit as well. So I'm happy that this one hit, at least for me.
I did like people, but The Little Mermaid. I've only seen it once though, and Little Mermaid is definitely like she's my favorite princess. I did like it, but I've only seen it once, so that has to tell you something. You know, the other ones I've seen multiple times.
I watch Beauty and the Beast on like a monthly basis.
Yeah, I've seen Beauty and the Beast way too many times. I've seen Cinderella so many times. Yeah, just love the Cinderella remake.
Love it, all for it.
Anyway, yeah, we should do like a whole episode on all the remakes sometime.
The remakes, absolutely,
definitely.
Love
the live actions.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. So okay. Anywho. Great job, Stitch. We love you. You're so cute.
Yeah.
All right. So
I can't do it. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah. So
Grace, what's our next episode gonna be about?
Transitioning here.
Yeah. What's our next episode about?
What our next episode is going to
look
like.
Which we should also preface too. One, we're so sorry that episode came out later. Some scheduling conflicts have come about.
But you know what?
It happens.
We're just doing this for funsies.
You guys, exactly. But this means you guys will get a podcast this week on Thursday and next Thursday, so we can get back to whatever
regularly scheduled programming.
Regular scheduling programming every 2 weeks. So we're gonna have 2 podcasts back to back for you guys and your enjoyment.
Just for you.
Just for you. But anywho,
I did this
Grace,
for
let's
you.
let's tell them what the plan is for next time.
Yeah. So next episode, Broadway. Yes, we love you, Broadway.
Broadway.
So we're going to do this little game / trivia / I don't know what this is, whatever. Fun little way to introduce you to our next episode. So let's just get in here. All right, let's play Disney Needs Therapy. Which Broadway character would totally get our Disney fave? Drop your guesses. We're also going to guess. Tune in next week. Find out how Broadway really helps us through the tough stuff.
Oh, heck yeah, dude.
Heck yeah.
We're going to deep dive.
Yeah, so Disney Needs Therapy. Who's their Broadway match? All right, so here we go. If Elsa needed a Broadway bestie to help her process isolation, power struggles, and finding her voice, who would it be?
Well, okay, so here's the funny thing. Elsa is a Broadway character also.
She is, actually. But so originally she is just a Disney character.
I'm following. Yeah. Yes, I know. The easy cop out one would be Elphaba from Wicked,
right?
In my opinion,
right.
I feel like Elphaba would be totally understanding, but also too, I could kind of see Eurydice from Hadestown kind of understanding the seclusion, isolation, but for sure, Elphaba is for sure.
Definitely, yeah.
Elphaba for sure is my hands down.
Yeah, I agree.
Beep answer.
Yeah, literally, the hint says she's green. Oh, thanks. That narrows it down a lot. But it says,
yeah, right.
She's green, misunderstood, and also belts through her feelings. That's good. That's a good one.
And they're played by the same woman.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you're right. They both were the original. Yep. Mm-hmm. Anyway, all right. Next one. Simba ran from his past in guilt. Which Broadway teen might relate to hiding the truth and finally facing it?
You know, I think it's super funny because these are all so far also Broadway characters. Like Simba is also on Broadway in The Lion King.
They all, whatever. Yeah, they all are. That's
But
okay.
my main thought is Evan from Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah.
That's where my mind goes immediately.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else.
Tapping on the glass,
Running from his
waving through a window.
Nice. Very good.
Can anybody see? Is anybody waving? Okay, fun fact. Sorry, we have to go on a little bit of a tangent here for a second because Dear Evan Hansen is one of the first musicals that Grace and I ever listened to and we ever saw together. And I had never heard of Dear Evan Hansen until I met Grace.
You're welcome.
And we were listening to it in the car. And you remember what my first question to you was about this?
Is he Dear Evan Hansen?
I said, "Is this about two gay boys?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, not really."
But I can totally see your confusion because I thought the same thing when I first started listening to the musical too. Because if you just listen to the songs,
it's a
little confusing. But then you also get to the song where Evan and the girl, whatever her name is, sing. Mm-hmm. So then you're like, I'm so confused.
It'll be us and only us.
Yeah. But
what came before won't count anymore.
Can we try that? You and me.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so, yep.
I love it.
Yep, okay. Next. A girl trapped in her circumstances, longing for something more, and finding the courage to use her voice. Which Broadway heroine would totally understand Ariel's journey? I feel like actually there's probably a lot for this situation. Trapped in her circumstances, longing for something more, and finding the courage to use her voice.
My original thoughts are like,
I have one. Which you haven't seen this, but Satine from Moulin Rouge. I feel like this could totally be because she's stuck in a few circumstances that she doesn't want to be in, and she finally does use her voice at the end. So I would say, and I'm just trying not to spill things for you because you need to see that show. But yeah, so for those of you out there that have seen Moulin Rouge, do you agree, Satine? Let me know.
Fair. I was gonna say, like, my original thoughts is like the characters from Hadestown, like those Eurydice or what is his name? Why am I blanking on his name?
Orpheus,
yes, using his voice. I could see that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Orpheus for sure. But then my other thought kind of goes to like Juliet from Anne Juliet. She could be a good one.
Yes, good job. That's
sticking
good.
up for the things. And then there was one other one that I was thinking of that I was like, oh, you know, maybe a little bit of Eliza from Hamilton.
Eliza.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, using her story, her voice to tell the story of Alexander Hamilton. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's so many that could go with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the one it gives us here is Jenna from Waitress, which I have not seen. Waitress.
Oh, yes, that's true.
I have not seen, so
That's
I
very
don't.
true.
I actually don't know.
Sugar, butter, flour, sugar, butter, flour. I love that song.
Okay, so yeah, all right. So for the next one, both believe in love against all odds and will literally walk into danger for it. Which dreamy Broadway romantic would Anna cry to during a snowstorm?
I mean, Orpheus and Eurydice go first in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's just the first thing that I think of. But I'm trying to think, like, who else?
Believe in love against all odds will literally walk into danger for it.
See, it's the, like, walking in danger for it. Like, that's the hardest thing for me because I'm like, I don't know a ton of.
I'm having trouble thinking.
But like the one that makes the most sense. What are the like clues or examples that they give?
It doesn't have any clues, but it says Orpheus.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, so you got that.
Yeah, see, that's.
But I know there's others out there
thing.
for sure.
King of shadows, king of shades, Hades is king of the underworld. It's so good. I need to listen to it.
Ever since you did that with Queen of Shadows, now I do it all
I know.
the
I just
time.
think about that. Queen of shadows, queen of shade. Yeah, that's my original thought.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on.
It's just Hadestown.
Give this one another minute to think. If I can think of anybody else.
I mean, like, you could also, in theory, kind of do like Nala and Simba, I guess. Like, they're going out into the wilderness trying to figure things out, you know. But even then, I mean, kind of Fiero and Elphaba in a sense, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in
I kind of got a sense of like kind of Phantom.
Oh,
you know,
could be. He's always there. You know,
it's a little stalkerish though. But anyway, all right, let's go to the next.
He is a little stalkerish,
but we love him. All right, this is the last one. A smart woman who sees potential in people others. A smart woman who sees potential in people others don't. Stuck in a complicated relationship and values books and legacy. Who's her Broadway twin? Which this is Belle. Who's Belle's Broadway twin?
I don't know. This one is a hard one. I want to say Belle, but
Belle and Belle.
Belle and Belle.
Smart woman who sees potential in people others don't. Stuck in a complicated relationship, values books and legacy. Who's her Broadway twin?
What is the hint that they give? Do they give a hint?
Mm-mm.
What did they say?
They said Eliza. Eliza.
I could see that. That's kind of where my mind went when I first thought. Yeah, I could see that. I stopped wasting time on tears. I live another 50 years and it's not enough. Happy Hampton.
Yes. Oh, we need to do an episode about that too.
Mm-hmm. Which they're performing live at the Tonys.
They are. I'm excited. So tune in, y'all.
Which do you think Anthony Ramos is actually going to be there?
Dude, I was thinking the same thing because I've literally been looking at all like the videos and stuff and I haven't seen him in any of them yet. But I saw Jasmine and I was like,
Ooh, the tea.
What's happening?
Uh-oh.
Is he there? Have they talked to each other?
I love it.
Are they civil? What's the situation?
Civil?
It would be really sad if he wasn't there because he is an original and he's phenomenal.
$10 founding father
without a father got a lot smarter by working a lot harder by being a self-starter. Anyway,
yep.
Yeah, so I'm really curious. So we'll tune in Sunday and check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious.
Yeah,
about
which
that.
we are. I think we're going to add a little bit of the Tonys to our next episode, but we're also going to kind of deep dive into like what musicals really get us through when we're in an emo state. Because I got a lot that I like to turn on and listen to.
Of course.
And so does Grace. Any good theater nerd does.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to dive into that. But if you enjoyed hanging out with us today, be sure to follow, subscribe, leave us a review, and just like it, share it, post it, comment, do all the fun things, okay? Because it helps other people find our podcast and it just helps us grow.
Yep.
Have more fun and be able to do this longer.
Yep, absolutely. So thanks y'all for tuning in. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep telling stories, and we'll see you soon.